Hi, my name is Caitlin Lyons. This will be my EDDN 680 methods presentation, which will be a mini lesson on an ELA content area. Today's content and language objectives are as follows. Students will be able to describe the characters in the story and describe how their actions contribute to the sequence of events. And the language objective for students today is that students will be able to ask and answer questions about the text orally and in writing using complete sentences. Throughout this lesson, we are going to give lots of opportunities for students to listen, speak, read, and write, which will help English language learners develop those 4 skills. Today, we're going to start off by showing an infograph. An infograph is a poster that shows you, is a helpful tool that shows you what we are going to be learning about today. So today we're going to work on making sure we can sound out words correctly as we're reading. So I wrote a word down for us here. Does anyone know this word? If we put all these letters together, what word does this spell? Great, the word is spoon. So what we have here is to help you sound out this word, we can separate the letters out to make sure we're saying them correctly. So we can see that the O sound together, even though usually O says ah, when it's put together like this, it says ooh. Today we're going to be learning a new sound. We're going to be learning about the blend SP. Does anyone know what sound SP makes together? Good, sp. Let's watch a video to learn more about the SP sound. I see the sponge. Sponge is wiping the windows. Oh, I see there's a spot on the window. He's trying to wipe the spot with his sponge, but it doesn't seem to be working. So he uses some spray to help wipe the spot. All right. Let me hear some of you say the SP sound. Let me hear you say that. Great job. Sp. We are going to now move on to a great book for us to read called Spook and Spud. We're going to read the story of Spook and Spud together as a class. Here's where I would stop and read the book with the class, asking them questions throughout the book, such as who are the characters? What are the characters doing on this page? And what does that tell you about the characters' traits? Why is Spud spying on Spook, which this is a specific question related specifically to this text? What is the problem in the story? And how does the story end? How do Spud's feelings change? So as you can see, we have some transferable questions that are going to be used throughout the entire year of first grade to help students understand fiction text better. And then we have some specific key ideas and details questions that kids will also need to be working on. These questions are going to be directly related to that content objective because students will be able to understand what the characters are doing, what their traits are, how to describe them, and that will help them understand what's happening in the story from beginning, middle to end. As an example, we are going to share out just a few pages of the book. Spook and Spud by G. C. Powers. Spook was a spider. Ooh, I'm seeing a lot of those SP sounds. His best friend was a worm named Spud. Who are our characters so far? Good. Spook the spider and Spud the worm. Come and play with me, Spud said one day. No, said Spook. Today I am doing something special. What can that be? Thought Spud. I will spy and find out. What are the characters doing on this page? Right. Spook is kind of being secretive. He's not really telling Spud what he's doing. So Spud is deciding to spy on him. Great. By the end of the book, the students should recognize how feelings had changed for Spud over time, and they will continue to see a lot of those questions, hear a lot of those questions, be able to answer them orally, and they'll also be able to practice that SP sound with us as a class. To end this activity, I would end with a comprehension activity, which would be these three questions. In the beginning of the story, Spud was feeling blank because blank. Here, students would have to fill in a feeling word and why Spud was feeling that way. For differentiation for this question, I would include the rest of the because so that students would just have to fill in the feeling word. If students are higher level and do not need a sentence starter, I would just ask the question, how was Spud feeling in the beginning of the story and why? The next question is Spook got an apple from Sparrow because, again, this is the key ideas and details question where kids need to go back into the text and find a specific detail from the text that answers this question. As a differentiation, I would ask the question for higher level kids, just asking, why did Spook get an apple from Sparrow? And they would have to create the sentence all on their own. Then, lastly, we would end with at the end of the story, Spud felt blank because Spook surprised him with blank. Again, they would have to answer this question and fill it in with a feeling word. How was Spud feeling? And they would have to tell me why he was feeling that way. To differentiate this one, I could take away some of the words that I have here. They would just have to fill in the whole because. So they would say, because Spook surprised him with a birthday party, because Spook surprised him with the pie for his birthday party. And they would just be asked why or how did Spud feel at the end of the story. In order to differentiate it for lower level students, I would fill in the whole end here, and students would just have to fill in the feeling word. After this activity, we would go through it as a class again and talk through in order to bring back and connect it to that content objective, which was students will be able to describe the characters in the story and describe how their actions contribute to the sequence of events. So these questions directly relate to that, and having a class discussion at the end of the activity will also help to reinforce those skills. As you can see, the language objective is also being done here, which was to ask and answer questions about the text orally and in writing. So students will be having practice using complete sentences, whether they are given that sentence starter or not. They had a lot of opportunity to respond orally and ask questions orally throughout the reading of the book. That concludes my presentation. I hope you enjoyed.